This message is for you, and God says don't look away, don't try to skip, don't think you'll come back later because you won't. This is the hour your spirit is being shaken awake. You've been walking with a heart that feels heavy, wondering if what you sense is real or just your imagination. But God is showing you something, and it's painful, and it's urgent, and it cannot wait. He whispers into your spirit, she is not just a friend. That woman, that shadow on the side, that presence you've tried to ignore, she is the reason for the sleepless nights, the reason for the unsettled storm in your heart. You keep trying to rationalize it, telling yourself maybe you're paranoid, maybe you're jealous, maybe you're wrong. But God says, no. What you are sensing is truth, and the truth always finds a way to rise, even if people try to bury it under smiles and excuses. God is not trying to torment you. He's not showing you this because He wants to see you break. He's showing you because you deserve to see clearly. You deserve to know the truth so you don't keep building your future on sand that will collapse beneath your feet. You keep asking Him, why does my heart feel so uneasy? Why does my spirit cry at night? And His answer is piercing, because you already know. You already know something is wrong, and you're fighting against your own soul to pretend it isn't happening. She is not just a friend. Her presence in his life isn't innocent. Her words carry a tone you've tried to dismiss. Her laughter when she's near him makes your heart twist, but he tells you it's nothing. God says, stop ignoring the signs. Don't cover your eyes with hope when heaven is screaming at you to see. The small lies, the hidden messages, the moments he seems distracted, these are not accidents. These are not your mind making stories. This is the Spirit shaking you awake before you lose yourself in the lie He is weaving. You've prayed for God to show you. And God says He has been showing you. Every restless night, every time you catch His gaze shift, every word that cuts too sharp when you ask about her, these are the answers. But the human heart, when it loves deeply, resists truth. You want to believe the best in Him, and that is your goodness, your pure love, your loyalty. But God says, loyalty to a lie will destroy you. Loyalty to someone who plays with two worlds will break the very bones of your soul. And listen carefully, because God says, this is not just about him and her. This is about you and your destiny. You are too precious to waste your years trying to hold on to someone who holds someone else in secret. You are too chosen to drown in this river of betrayal. God says, I am begging you to wake up, because the enemy wants you trapped in confusion. He wants you to question your worth, to fight for scraps of attention, to compete for love that was supposed to be yours alone. But God created you to be the crown, not the competition. God says, you are not crazy for feeling what you feel. You are not imagining her role in his life. She is not just a friend, and if you keep telling yourself she is, you will break your own heart in ways that will take years to heal. The Spirit is trying to save you from a wound that would scar your soul forever. Don't mistake silence for safety. Don't think that if you don't confront it, it will fade. It will grow. The longer you ignore it, the deeper it will cut. But God also says, you are not helpless. You are not trapped. You don't have to play the role of the victim here. You can rise. You can choose truth even if it hurts. You can reclaim your heart before it is stolen piece by piece. God says, my child, I see you crying when no one else does. I see the questions you never speak out loud. I hear the ache in your voice when you smile and pretend everything is fine. And I say to you now, I will give you strength to walk away if you must. I will give you clarity to see what is hidden. I will hold you when the truth shakes you. But you must be willing to open your eyes. This is not just about her being in his life, it is about you being in mine. God says, when you cling too tightly to someone who betrays you, you lose your grip on me. When you idolize their love, you lose sight of my love. And my love never lies. My love never hides. My love never divides itself between you and another. My love is whole, it is pure, it is complete. That is what you deserve, not half-love, not secret love, not love with conditions and shadows. God says, don't let your heart become a doormat. Don't let your soul become a battlefield where you are constantly losing. Don't let your destiny get tied up with someone who cannot choose you fully. Because if he cannot choose you without hesitation, he was never yours to begin with. I know that breaks your heart, but better a broken heart now than a destroyed soul later. Better tears today than years wasted tomorrow. And God is warning you, if you keep ignoring the signs, if you keep pretending she's just a friend, the pain coming ahead will be unbearable. You'll see things you cannot unsee, you'll hear words that will cut too deep, you'll feel a betrayal that will steal your breath. But if you face it now, if you admit what I am showing you, you will save yourself from the greater wound. You will walk out with your dignity, your strength, and your future still intact. God says, don't waste your tears on someone who already divided his heart. Don't waste your prayers on someone who won't change because he hides behind lies. Pray for yourself. Pray for healing. Pray for strength. And then walk. Walk with your head held high, knowing heaven is backing you. Walk away from the lie and into the truth. Walk away from her shadow and into my light. My child, I know you love him. I know you thought he was your forever. I know you built dreams around him. But I also know the truth, he let another woman enter those dreams, and in doing so, he broke the promise he made to your soul. Don't carry the weight of his choice. Don't blame yourself for his betrayal. This is not your failure. This is his weakness. And God says, let him face the consequences of that. You don't need to rescue him. You don't need to beg him. You don't need to fight her. You only need to choose yourself and choose me. God says, Hear this clearly: if you let go of him, I will not let go of you. If you release what is destroying you, I will fill your hands with something greater. If you dare to walk away from the counterfeit, I will bring the real. You think you'll be alone, but you won't. You think you'll break, but you'll rise. You think you'll lose everything, but you'll gain peace, joy, and a love that never betrays. Don't try to skip this message. Don't say you'll deal with it later. God says, this is your moment. This is your warning. This is your chance to save yourself before it's too late. She is not just a friend. And if you keep pretending she is, you will lose yourself. But if you believe me now, you will find freedom, strength, and a new beginning. This is not just about him and her. This is about you and me. Choose me, and I will choose your healing. Choose truth, and I will choose your freedom. Choose yourself, and I will surround you with love that cannot be shaken. Hear me now with ears that refuse distraction. There are practical steps I want you to take, not as punishments, not as complicated rituals, but as lifelines to pull you out of the fog. First, give yourself permission to feel. So many of you have been taught to swallow pain, to smile through the blade. But God says, your feelings are not weaknesses, they are messengers. Let them speak. Let the sorrow, the anger, the shock come up and out. Write them down if your voice trembles. Scream into a pillow if you must. Cry until your lungs remember how to breathe freely again. This purifying grief is not a detour, it is a doorway. Second, set a boundary now. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel stronger. Boundaries are not cruel, they are holy. If his phone is an open library of secrets, make it off limits to your peace. If her presence in his messages or his life is a constant wound, protect yourself from that exposure. Remove what you need to remove, unfollow, unshare, clear the saved chats that haunt you. Distance is not revenge, it is preservation. God says, when you stop feeding your eyes and your heart with poison, healing can begin. Third, refuse the story that blames you. You did not cause his choices. You did not fail because someone else chose to be dishonest. The enemy will whisper that if you had been kinder, prettier, different, he would have stayed. God says those lies are cheap and false. Your worth does not depend on someone else keeping a promise. You were created whole, you are not a missing piece to be completed by anyone's indecision. God also says, don't rush to a public storm. The world will have opinions, and social media will clamor with advice and accusations. But your heart needs sacred privacy to sort truth from turmoil. Confide in one trusted friend, not 10, someone whose love for you does not come with spectacle. A wise listener will steady you without selling your pain. Seek counsel from those who have walked through betrayal and lived to tell a better story. Let their calm mirror the steadiness God is offering you. And listen, forgiveness is not the immediate goal. There is a cruel expectation that forgiveness must be handed over in the first act of pain. God says, forgiveness will come in time, and it must be genuine to be lasting. For now, aim for clarity and safety, not a pressured pardon. Forgiveness that is forced becomes a shackle. Forgiveness that grows out of healed bones becomes freedom. Let the timeline be my timeline, not the world's. God sees your fear about loneliness, that ache that screams you will never love again. He says, I will teach you to love yourself with the intensity you once reserved for Him. This is not selfish, it is sacred. Start with small acts. Cook a meal that feeds your soul, walk where the sun kisses your skin, say no to invitations that drain you, and say yes to the things that stitch joy back into your days. Relearn your laughter. It will come, at first soft, then stronger. Each small joy is a brick in a new foundation. You are entitled to anger. Let it be honest. But do not let anger lead you into revenge. God says revenge is a heavy burden that will bind your feet to the past. Instead, channel that energy into rebuilding, exercise your body so your strength returns, study something that lights a fire in your mind, volunteer your time to someone who needs your hands. The world will try to convince you that getting even is the same as getting better. God says, getting better looks like growth, not grudges. There will be moments you collapse back into habit, checking, hoping, longing. When that happens, be gentle with yourself but firm in your resolve. Old patterns are like broken grooves on a record. They try to play the same song until you replace the record. Make a new playlist. Form new rhythms. Ask God to reroute your heart by giving you a fresh tune to dance to. Replace memories that chain you with small new experiences that remind you of your agency. A sunrise watched alone, a book read that changes how you think, a quiet dinner where you are the only guest and you respect yourself. God knows your questions. How will I know if I am making the right choice? What if I leave and regret it? What if I stay and ruin everything? He answers simply, choose truth. Truth is a bright lamp, lies are smoldering candles that fool you into warmth but will burn your hands. When you choose truth, even when it hurts, you align with the God who cannot lie. Regret that comes from courage is different from remorse that comes from cowardice. If you leave because your soul demands fidelity, God says you will not be abandoned for that courage. If you stay because you're terrified of being alone, God warns that fear-driven choices often cost more than the loneliness itself. God says, prepare for two things, the storm and the calm. The storm will be loud, accusations, denials, perhaps even promises you have heard before. The calm will come quietly and, when it does, you will be surprised by how ordinary life can be again, by groceries, by small talk, by the peaceful hum of a life no longer tormented. Embrace both seasons. The storm proves your strength, the calm proves your healing. And do not be fooled by his sudden declarations of change. Words can be polished, apologies rehearsed, tears can be real, but until behavior is altered consistently, words remain a draft. Watch the life, not only the language. God says, character reveals itself in seasons. Time will show whether his repentance is a new garment or repeated text. Let time be your ally. Do not rush into a relationship on promises alone. There is also a harder message: if you decide to stay, it must be on new soil. Both of you will need to rebuild trust like a house reconstructed from ruins. Transparency must be the mortar, phones open, friends introduced, boundaries honored, counseling sought. Love that survives betrayal becomes a love forged in honesty and humility. But both must commit fully to the work. God will help, He is the master carpenter, but He will not do the rebuilding without your hands engaged. God says to the woman who has been just a friend, there are consequences to every choice, and everyone will stand before the mirror of truth someday. This message is not about casting stones, it is about warning. If she is innocent, let the truth clear the air. If she is not, God says, the seeds of her choices will bear the fruit of her character. But do not make her central, keep the focus on your healing. You cannot control other people, only your response to them. Now, my child, practical prayers. Speak these words if your mouth is heavy with fear: Lord, give me one step of courage. Show me the truth and help me walk it. Pray morning and night for clarity and for strength to obey. When the enemy tries to cloud your judgment, pray for discernment, that piercing clarity that separates intention from illusion. Pray for protection over your heart like a guard at the gate. And pray for wisdom to know when to walk away and when to stay and fight in the light. God also calls you to a higher posture. Don't weaponize religion to justify cruelty. Don't use faith as an excuse to shame, to gossip, or to humiliate. There is a fine line between calling out sin and becoming the one who inflicts it. Stand for truth with grace. Speak with courage wrapped in compassion. Hold your dignity without dressing it in bitterness. There will be small victories. Celebrate them. The day you don't check his social media, celebrate. The day you sleep through the night, celebrate. The day you laugh and mean it, celebrate. These are markers of liberation. Mark them like milestones and give thanks for them. God delights in your small wins. He notices every step you take away from the abyss. Finally, hear this promise clearly: your story is not over. This chapter is painful, yes, seismic, but it is not the whole book. God says He is already writing a new narrative for you, one where love is not a wound but a sanctuary. He is preparing people, places, and purposes that will respect your heart. He is preparing a season where loyalty meets you and where peace is your common currency. Until then, trust the process of mending. Your soul is worth the time it takes. God says, now I will give you words to speak, not to trap, not to accuse without clarity, but to free yourself. Use these scripts as tools, not weapons. Speak them when your mouth trembles and your hands shake. Speak them when your heart demands truth. Say, I need honesty. I need to know where your heart is, plainly and now. If he answers with anger or deflection, say again, calmly, I deserve the truth. I deserve to know if there is someone else. If he admits, do not let the first torrent of words sweep you away. Listen so you know the whole shape of the thing. If he denies and you have evidence, say, I have seen things that hurt me. I need you to be transparent or I will create the distance I need to be safe. If he promises to change, add, then I need to see clear steps and consistent behavior over time. Words alone will not rebuild what has been broken. Hold that boundary like a lifeline. If you choose to confront her, not out of violence but for closure, prepare your heart first. You do not go because you want to shame, you go because you need to place the truth on the table for your own release. Speak, I deserve to know the truth about your involvement. If you have been more than a friend, tell me now so I can stop living in a lie. Do not explode. Do not plead. You are asking for an answer, not a spectacle. Keep witnesses near, a trusted friend, someone sober, because truth spoken publicly can become a wildfire. Protect your dignity first. When midnight terror comes, God gives you prayers that are simple and fierce. Whisper them into the dark, Lord, hold my trembling heart. Show me truth, and give me courage to act on it. Repeat, I will not be defined by betrayal. I will be defined by how I rise. When the mind screams the worst, ground yourself in breath. Inhale counting to 4, hold 4, exhale 4. Tell your body it is safe. Tell your soul it is seen. These small acts rewire the body's panic into new grooves of peace. God says, practical rebuilding looks like ritual and routine. Choose 3 small daily acts that belong only to you and do them without fail. A cup of water greeted with gratitude, 5 minutes of stillness where you name what you feel, an intentional step outside for sunlight. Build a sanctuary of tiny vows. These micro-decisions remind your soul that you are worth being cared for in the little things. You will need allies. Find a counselor who speaks truth without taking sides. If faith is your anchor, find a pastor or spiritual director who understands betrayal and will not minimize your pain. When you choose a counselor, do a short interview. Ask about their experience with infidelity, their approach to boundaries, whether they support safety and empowerment. Trust your instincts. If someone makes you feel small, leave. Your healing must be shepherded by hands that steady, not hands that judge. Money and logistics matter. If you live together, make plans that protect your stability. Document what you need, passwords, important documents, access to funds. These steps are not greedy, they are sensible. If you fear escalation, tell a trusted friend where you are and have a safety plan. God says, Prudence is not cowardice, it is preservation. You are not less spiritual for being practical. God warns, do not weaponize children, family, or mutual friends as messengers or shields. Children deserve peace and guarded truth appropriate to their age. Do not let the turmoil turn them into battlegrounds. Keep family conversations calm and necessary. Do not parade every wound in front of those who cannot help. Use discretion. Your dignity will thank you later. There will be a season of rage. Let it have its place. But then channel it. Sign up for that class you've been postponing. Train your body like you are preparing to reclaim territory. Learn how to cook, to build, to code, to create. Let your hands find competence, and your brain will follow with renewed confidence. God says, skill is therapy. Mastery is medicine. When people ask what happened, keep your truth short and sovereign. You do not owe a broadcast of pain. Say, there were choices made that hurt me. I am healing. End of statement. You will be surprised how much power comes from refusing to make your wound public property. Guard your story like a sacred object, share it only with those who honor it. If you stay and attempt reconciliation, demand accountability rituals. Daily check-ins, open communication about friendships that used to be secret, joint counseling, a transparency agreement about devices and social media for a set trial period. If he refuses these, God says, his reluctance reveals his priorities. Do not mistake a promise to change for actual changed life. Time and consistent action must prove repentance. There will be days of shame, phantom memories that replay scenes you wish you hadn't seen. When that happens, do not root in guilt. Say, I loved well. Loving is not the same as being responsible for another person's sin. Forgive yourself privately for every imperfect choice that once came from a place of trust. That forgiveness is one of the greatest acts of rebellion against the lie that you were at fault. Seek beauty. Go to a gallery, buy a small plant, make your bed so it feels like a temple each morning. Surround your senses with good things. Beauty is not frivolous, it repairs neural pathways warped by betrayal. It teaches your brain that the world still contains delight and that you are permitted to receive it. God says, prepare for false hope. He may come with grand gestures, with public shows of devotion. These can be intoxicating. But test them. Ask, does this new behavior require constant proof? Does it stop when the audience disappears? Repentance that depends on spectacle is not repentance at all. Real change is consistent in private as well as public. When you begin to date again, only when your healing is not dependent on another's love, make non-negotiables. Write them down: respect, transparency, time, shared values. Show them to yourself. Ask questions early. How do you handle friendships with the opposite sex? What boundaries do you keep online? Watch not just for answers but for the way they speak about others. Character is revealed by how someone tells stories about people who aren't there. If bitterness sneaks in, fight it with gratitude lists. Each night, write 3 small things that went right: a cup of tea, a stranger's smile, the rhythm of rain. Gratitude does not erase pain, it gives your heart small footholds on the climb out of bitterness. There will come a moment when you forgive, not because the wound was small but because you refuse to be defined by it. That forgiveness will not mean reconciliation necessarily. It will mean you are free from the corrosive demand to replay pain on loop. Give yourself the space to decide what forgiveness looks like: a private prayer, a letter you never send, a ritual of release at the waterline. God honors authenticity over performative grace. And finally, God says, remember who you were before this betrayal. Reclaim that name, that field of work, that laugh that used to surprise you. Write a letter from your future self who has already healed. You will rise. You will laugh louder. You will love wiser. Keep that letter where you can reach for it on dark nights.